Week 17, Anthony Galling. Welcome to our year, ladies and gentlemen. Proudly brought to you by our friends at Spates, the TAB, Scopic, and the mighty One New Zealand Warriors. Jello, how are you, brother?
Mate, I am going to die of a rugby league overdose. We have been commentating the national youth comp going on in Christchurch. We shoot got the camera crew down there. We shoot the games back to Auckland, and it has been close to 20 games of rugby league in the last 3 days.
Yeah, I mean that's too much even for a rugby league tragic like yourself. Jello, embarrassingly enough, I have to open this show with a public apology to a very well-known NRL player. I was on the show last week and I was chatting a bit of shit. So, Ethan, if you want to roll that clip, I'll let these people
Who do you
in.
want to win the comp? Now that the wires are out, who would you like to see win the comp?
I want to see the Raiders win the comp. You know, these guys were unanimously bottom of the heap in all the media predictions at the start of the year. And then I'd love to see us whoop their ass next year because they were fucking wankers to us in that game with the Joey Tarpanay and the winger talking shit. Yeah.
So, like, if I just wanted to watch the world burn, the Sharks winning would just piss off everybody.
Oh, bro.
No one's picking them. There's no, like...
After this incredible season of the fucking Sharks one, I would be...
No one would be happy.
I'd be like, man,
even
fuck
Sharks
this
fans
shit.
would be like, no.
I mean, they're not going to because Nico Hines sucks. But yeah, look, if they did, man, it would be a crazy story. Especially, you know, Penrith going 5 in a row, the Storm looking dominant. All right. Cut it. So, obviously, I got very lazy with my words. I want to preface this by saying I don't want to be that guy. I don't want our show to be that negative show that just talks shit. I was very lazy in how I said it. But look, Nico Hines, he messaged me this after the game. It says, "Stay in your lane." Nice music, but which is also a nice little prelude to just how much of a classy bloke this guy is. So basically, I was talking shit. I got put in my place. Nico Hines had an absolute stunning game. He upset the apple cart. The minor premier Raiders went down, and I looked like an absolute idiot. And so he gave me this message, and I told him my apology would be louder than my disrespect. So, Nico, you're a class bloke, and from all accounts, I mean, look, he's fucking good looking. He can play footy real well, and he's a classy bloke. Because what he said to me afterwards was, "I wish you all the best with everything. Appreciate the message." I was like, man, it's so hard to hate you. It's so hard to hate you. So, Nico, only one person sucked last week, and it was me. And so I'm wearing a Sharks jersey. I'm wearing the long hair in tribute.
I think the only way you can get this over the line is if you kiss the badge.
No, I can't do that. I can't do that.
Too far.
I can't do that. But Nico, I hope you appreciate my apology because, look, I was wrong and I should watch my mouth. But yeah, let's move on and I can hopefully take off this week.
Nice, mate. That's very big of you. If we look towards, or we look over the weekend that was the Sharks-Raiders game, the game in question.
I mean, wow. What a performance.
What about
from the
this
Sharks.
guy? Ronaldo.
Ronaldo Mulitalo.
Ellerslie own.
Yeah, and what a performance from him. I feel like this Sharks team, I mean, look, I don't know if they were strictly referring to us in the post-game thing, but they were saying we're being disrespected right across the board. And look, Mulitalo is a big confidence player. He's running on high confidence at the moment. So is my boy, Nico Hines.
He calls himself the Ron Dog. Did you hear that interview today?
No.
He said, every week I go up against a big winger. They'll be taller than me, more muscly. But you know what? When the Ron Dog comes out, all skinny and scrawny and does the job, look who's laughing.
Third person. Gotta love it.
Third person.
Gotta love it.
You know the Sharks are fired up. Also, the Panthers beating the Bulldogs. They look like they're ready to go again.
Yeah, look, I mean, I don't want to go too far back and look at our game against them. We almost had them, but man, this Panthers team looks hard to stop. Once they get rolling, could have easily put 50 on those Bulldogs, and the Bulldogs are no slouches as well. So, look, it's going to be a really interesting weekend of footy this week. But yeah, those Raiders, 2 out and home, and the Bulldogs, they're at home eating their kebabs.
Yeah, we'll unpack the finals as we get our guests up on stage to help us out. But for now, we've got to talk about the Black Ferns, lost to Canada.
Yes.
This one hurts.
Yeah, 34-19. And I actually saw a take online today which got half of New Zealand extremely riled up. someone saying that they weren't adapting enough and they were too busy trying to play expressive football, whereas Canada, you wouldn't expect it from Canada as a rugby nation per se, but man, they are really good in the women's game, second in the world, and just had too much class for us and too much muscle up front from watching those highlights. So, yeah, unfortunately, the girls, their run goes to an end.
They're a strange country, Canada. What's your take on them? I kind of look at them as being maybe like what we are to Australia. They're kind of like the little brother of America.
Yeah,
is that right?
It's like if New Zealand met America. Like you've got all the worst things about America and all the best things about New Zealand, and they just come into this little hybrid. They're very nice people. I'll give them that.
Very nice people. Well, I'd like to say, very similar, but we're better at rugby. But for now, they hold on to that for the time being, of course. Something positive. New Zealand pole vaulters, we had 3 girls qualify in the finals last week into the top 10. Imogen Arias, Olivia McTaggart, Eliza McCartney. How many Canadians in the top 10, Mitch?
0.
There you go.
Glad to tell everyone 0. So we're still the better nation on all fronts.
That's right. Pole vault counts for everything. Speaking of better nations, Silver Ferns pumping South Africa 77-51. How good was that?
Yeah, I'm really happy for the Silver Ferns. Now they've brought back Grace Nweke, who basically this was like a massive thing about the eligibility. She went off to play in Australia, her netball, and look, the girls are back with a vengeance. And look, I guess if we're on the topic of redemption against nations, we've got South Africa back too. So, hey, forget the rugby in Wellington.
The ledger is squared with netball and pole vault. This is a little piece of news that might have slipped through people's radar. Currently in Asia, right, it's a big gambling market.
They love to bet.
They love to bet on everything, including this, okay? There is a 2-hour window due to the time difference in Asia where New Zealand amateur football is the only football being played in the world. And that little 2-hour window for all the gambling degenerates over there is growing. And the markets are growing.
Why are you looking at me?
And the interest is growing. I have a question for you. Would you ever bring amateur football into disrepute by taking a bribe from an overseas gambling agency?
100%.
I would too.
100%.
I wouldn't blink twice.
Look, if I'm getting paid $0 to play football and they say here's 20 grand to lead in a goal, mate, who cares?
Playing for the Otahu reserve side or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, look, I play my own Ada-side football, and look, if we were to take bets on it, mate, we'd be losing 20-0 every game.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask, because the look on your face after you win this makes me feel like there was some extra incentive involved.
I look like I've been smoking billies all day there. That is a crazy photo. Yeah, look, we definitely had some extra incentive after the game. We actually came straight here and went until close. That trophy still hangs on my mantelpiece to this day. 5th division, the lowest division, on Wednesday night, Ada side, and mate, it meant the world, as you can see on my face.
The look on your face says that's the World Cup in your left hand.
I mean, it may as well be. It is my World Cup. And some breaking news. Full Time has decided to sponsor the Petrol Heads for the upcoming season. Thank you, Shane Don. Wow, what a guy. Big news
in the sponsorship world. Big news also.
Huge news.
The Breakers, some more sad news. We're going up and down. It's a roller coaster, isn't it, New Zealand sport at the moment?
It is.
The Breakers 0-2 to start their season.
Yeah, look, I didn't get to watch these games, but from all accounts, it might be a bit of a tough year for them. They've decided to take much more of a local approach with their recruitment. So, I mean, look, when you're up against the Aussies, who are one of the better programs in the world, former Olympic medalists, it's going to be tough. But, they got Parker Jackson Cartwright. He's a great player. Probably the longest arm-to-body ratio I've seen on a human being. But, yeah, he's a class player, but I think we've still got work to do as a country, but this young crop of players, the under-17s, the under-19s, both finished 4th at the World Championship. So I feel like if they grit it out for a few more years with this approach, they're going to get there.
Yeah, they got some good imports too. So this guy, Isaiah Brockington, he's scored. He's been their top scorer in the first 2 games. He spent some time in the NBA last year over at New Orleans. It's quite funny because we had Tim come on the show last week to chat basketball. We didn't chat any basketball at all. That's the reason we brought him here, and we talked about everything else.
So I blame Tim for making me feel so comfortable that I could talk shit about Nico Hines, and here I am wearing this disgusting jersey. It's all Tim's fault.
It is. I blame Tim for the Breakers losing their first 2 games. Freak
Fair
of the
enough.
week.
Speaking of dudes we've been giving crap all year, our boy Liam Lawson finishing 5th, a career best in Baku in Azerbaijan for the Formula One. That's a photo. So we've had plenty of photos this year, but man, that might top them all. Loves himself a pepperoni pizza by the looks of things. But Jallo, 5th place in the Red Bull B car is a really special achievement.
Yeah, that's wicked, man. It's such a good achievement for him. I believe that's a career best. And it's a season that got off to a rocky start, and he's just slowly getting better and better and chipping away. And it's still up in the air what the plans are for him next year.
I think it's because no one actually wants that second Red Bull seat. It seems like it's completely designed for Max Verstappen, and he drives a very certain way. And so everyone who's basically gone into it has gone to crap. So I reckon Liam is putting himself in a really good position to get himself a really good drive next year, whether that means staying with the Red Bull B or going to the new teams or whatever it is. He's really putting himself in a strong position because this might be his 3rd or 4th top 10 finish, but top 5 is different gravy.
All right, man, time to get down to the nitty-gritty. There is an elephant in the room, and it's not so much in the room as it is over there at Eden Park this Saturday when the All Blacks take on the Wallabies of Bledisloe Cup. We got 2 of the best in the house to talk us through it. All right, lads, welcome. Welcome to our year.
Good to be here. I'd just like to say right now that I'm a huge Nico Hines fan.
So am I now. I'm a fan for life after that. I mean, the pettiness, 100 out of 10.
Mills, how are we, brother?
I'm good. I'm a fan as well. I'm glad he's actually listening to you tonight, and you've come true to your word to wear sort of a Sharks uniform, mate. Looks pretty good on you.
Don't say that, Mills. I am probably the truest, bluest Warriors fan ever known to man, so this genuinely hurts me. But like we were saying off the stage, there's some things you have to do as a man, but glad to know you guys are both massive Nico Hines fans to just kind of rub it in.
Hey, I really appreciate your time, both of you. I know you've spent a lot of time on the breakdown this year. Probably close to a mental breakdown, the amount of rugby that's been getting talked about. We'll talk a little bit about everything. We got a tradition on the show. We like to take it back. Okay, we like to play the first song for either when you were born or when you were at high school. So I believe for Stevie, we got the number 1 song when you were born.
It is a very small town, northwest New South Wales, so in between Sydney and Brisbane, essentially, but inland, quite a way towards Darwin.
Well, when you say very small town, I'm looking at the screen up there.
There it is.
How about that? A buzz with activity, especially in its primary schools.
What's the population numbers? Is that an old photo?
I'd say that 875 was probably at its prime a long time ago. I can tell you when I went to school in Boggabri, there was at least one Devine in every single class from kinder to year 6, from kindergarten to year 6, there was a Devine. Wow. A lot of cousins.
Strong breeders, apparently.
Oh, easy.
What's this one?
Easy.
When we talk about Boggabri, this building here. So I found that little towns are always built around one building.
Been there. That's the courthouse.
It's like the whole town was just built around the courthouse. This is like the main feature.
I feel like I spent a lot of time there as a kid. No, I was a good boy. I was never, not even close.
Well, they say it's Boggabre's a buzz with activity. I'm just wondering how much of it centres around the courthouse.
Courthouse Hotel, not so much the courthouse itself. Boggabri is a town of, they say 800, there was probably 500 people that lived in town essentially, and there was three pubs and 3 clubs, pretty much one on every street.
Oh, nice, man. One courthouse that...
It was hot.
You've never been in, apparently.
In the centre.
It was very hot. You know, I'm just amazed that you can even get that photo. That's well done.
Well, because there's 2, we're going to jump between the 2 of you here. Mills, tell us a little bit about where you were born.
I was actually born in Samoa, in a little village called Salilesi. And then my parents actually decided to move to Invercargill, of all places.
That's a contrast.
Oh, just have a think about that for a bit now. Hey, I think, imagine them hopping off. Oh, yeah. Coming from that to hopping off a plane in Invercargill, I don't think many of the locals would have seen a Polynesian before.
This photo is quite cool. So I was reading about this is like a thing they do every year, the floats.
Yep.
Is it every year, every couple of years? So they dress the floats up. This was my favourite one. Ethan, have you got this one? It's like a Samoan Lamborghini. Look at that.
Mate, you missed the wheels. Can you see the wheels underneath it? Hey, it's pimped up with jandals, hey?
Have you ever been back here much in your adult life?
I have. I've been back a couple of times. Took my family back there to sort of see what the living's like there. You can't really turn the oven on or switch on the lights in the village. You're actually cooking from a fire in the. So it was really good. It was really good to see them, have them sort of witness what that looks like rather than being on their devices. It's always nice and humbling when you go back to the islands.
What was your crew like at school then? Because I don't know what Invercargill's like. I'm an Auckland boy. Was there many brown fellas living down there?
Nah, not really, eh? No, I had a good crew. There's a few down there. A lot of the Cook Islands are down there. It's just mouldy but I also sort of grew up. I was 3 years old when I was down in Invercargill, and by the time I got up to Kelston, they thought that I spoke funny. I used to roll my R's. I still do every now and then. And when I go back down home, because I'm one of 8. I've got 6 brothers and 1 sister. So when I go down there, I tend to come back and start rolling them again. It's a unique sort of accent down in Invercargill, but it's a great place to grow up. Yeah. Good people, cold. The roads are wide. But it's pretty good. I can only sort of survive down there maybe a weekend or so and then have to get back up to Auckland.
So one of 8, are you the oldest, youngest? Where are you in the picking order?
I'm the
there?
second oldest. So, yeah, it's a small place. Not quite as small as where Stevie's from, but, yeah, one of 8, so there's hardly anything to do in Invercargill, obviously, for my parents. And they moved back from maybe from the islands.
Was it rugby? You talk about coming up to Kelston. Was it rugby that brought you up here?
Not really. I was... I got into a little bit of trouble, so and
you take it to the Boggabury courthouse, sort you out, mate.
I did end up in court. That was one of the reasons. But I kind of just, I suppose, when I was in the first 15, was just going down that sort of road. Ended up at McDonald's a lot, and thought it was really cool to sort of fight skinheads. Got a few hidings in my day, but at this time I was pretty good. Well, not really good, but I sort of got discharged without conviction for assault. I got 200 hours, and then I came up here to play a bit of touch for New Zealand against the Aussies. And then from then on, a family friend said to me, "Hey, mate, you're not going back home. You're gonna spend a year up here, mate." I did my last sort of 50 hours at school, cleaning the windows, mowing the first 15 lawns, and then obviously playing against Islanders. I mean, I was used to playing white guys. Now I was playing guys with bloody beards and stuff, and some of them actually had kids. So it was a different sort of start, and but I kind of never looked back. So I didn't get a scholarship. I literally just I suppose I was getting a little bit too big for my shoes, and it was a moment, an opportunity really to come up here and be able to sort of get ahead, and that's what I kind of did.
And how about you, Stevie? How did you find yourself into footy in Boggabury?
Boggabury's country, New South Wales, which
Boggabury,
is
sorry.
It's hardened rugby league country. I grew up playing rugby league and soccer. Essentially, didn't know what rugby was till I went to high school in Sydney, and it was a private school. That's all they had. So I was 12, 13 when I stumbled across rugby.
What school was it in Sydney? Was it Waverley or something like that?
St Joseph's College, Hunters Hill. Joey's, they call it. So it's a boarding school.
Private school.
Private school, yeah. It was a boarding school back then. It still is now. 1,000 boarders, no day kids. So 1,000 kids between 12, 13 to 18. So it was pretty intense. It was pretty strict. And they just ran you as hard as you could all day, so they'd wear you out so you get to bed. Because it was full on 1,000 boys.
Tell us about that private school rugby culture in Sydney, because from what I've seen, it seems like they live and breathe it. You know, they got the chants, they got the songs and everything. Was it like that where you went to school?
Yeah. So it's massive. So there's only maybe in Sydney there's probably 12 schools that play rugby, and everyone else is rugby league. So there's not a lot of kids, but they are. It's sort of like the private schools that do it. So my parents couldn't afford money to send me. I was an old boy of the school paid for me to go. So that's the only reason I got a chance. But yeah, it's an elitist sort of a game in Australia, I guess. not a lot of people. So I guess the Aussies, they don't draw on a lot of kids that play the game. They've got a pretty small pathway system, I guess. And yeah, no, it's not easy over there as a kid to make it in rugby. A lot of the rugby league clubs now, I know the Roosters and South Sydney get talented kids and they put them in the private schools to get an education, and then straight out of school they're into those teams. Joseph Swaley, bursary to go to Kings. There's been lots over the years. A lot of the Roosters, particularly, end up at Scots College in Sydney. So it's quite. If you're pretty good at sport, you get pushed to a private school to get a good education, and then back into rugby league or rugby union for the Wallabies.
Mate, what was the jump for you? Private school in Australia. How do you find yourself in Auckland?
I had my club coach in Sydney was good mates with Joe Stanley, who was a player agent at that stage, and they were talking, and there was a spot here. Junior Tanu was going to be away with the All Blacks, so the NPC team just needed a halfback for 3 months. So I came over, played a trial, and was with Ted, and Ted gave me the fingers, and then he said, come back. And then the day I landed here in New Zealand, Graham announced he was going to Wales. So I literally thought I'm back on a plane tomorrow and I'll be heading back. But we hung around. It was a pretty tough season, 98, NPC for Auckland, sort of no coach. And then Morris Trapp jumped in late notice. And by the end of the season, I was starting over Junior, who had been dropped from the All Blacks. And then the Blues said, if you want to have a crack, stick around in 99. And I had a contract with the Brumbies at the same time. So I had two offers essentially, and Eddie Jones sort of rang me up and offered me a contract at the Brumbies, and I got hold of Australian Rugby Union and said, what do I do? I'm a young kid. Do I go? Do I stay? And they essentially told me to come over and get some experience, because otherwise we sit on the bench behind George Gregan.
George who, sorry?
Yeah, not sure you heard of him, but
we don't like that guy in this country.
Yeah, I know, either. And anyway, so Australian Rugby said, listen, you're better off getting some experience. Head over here. So I came over, and then maybe a month after I came over, Eddie Jones, who abused me on the phone for not taking the Brumbies contract, had the rules changed, and then you had to be playing in Australia to be eligible. So New Zealand Rugby came to me and said, listen, we're not going to promise you anything, but if you want to have a shot, we'd love to give you a chance. And so I had no eligibility, so I had to sign a contract to stand down for 3 years, make yourself available for New Zealand and stand down from footy for 3 years internationally, which wasn't really a problem. I was still young and learning, and that's how it started. It was basically a big to Australian rugby, and I dug my toes in and tried my hardest over here, and that's how it started. And I thought it would be kicked out by now, but hey, I'm still here.
I feel like there should be more of a ritual, like if you're going from playing for Australia potentially to New Zealand, they should have to get branded or got to kill a kangaroo or something, I don't know.
All right, yeah, well, yeah. I definitely haven't shot a Kiwi, definitely.
Have we got the photo of Stevie D in his rookie season? Look at that. Looks the same. Take the glasses off, it's the same.
Stop the
timeless.
whistling. Stop all the whistling. Wow, that's young, eh? Look at all that hair.
Handsome man.
And how about you, Mills? So you finish at Kelston and get your rep honours, and you move into the 7 scene. Tell us about that.
Oh, that was pretty... listening to Stevie talk about Graham Henry, the end of 98, I must have walked into the room just after you, because I didn't realise that. I got a contract to go down and play NPC for Southland the following year, the first year out of school. And it was worth $10,000. And I was like, we didn't have much. We lived in a 1-bedroom house where the living room was the kids' rooms, right? And that's where we kind of slept, with social housing. And I thought it was massive money. I was going, okay, cool, man, I'm going back home. I can buy my mother a house. I was 17 years old, and I thought, okay, cool. And then the guy that I was living with, Matty, he said, we'll go and visit Auckland Rugby. And Auckland Rugby had offered me an academy contract of $2,000. But they put me in front of Graham Henry. And Graham Henry, like Stevie said, talk really good. You should stay here, son. This is what we're going to do. The Auckland team. He was coaching at the time. And then he left, like he said. I'd signed and I stayed up. I didn't sort of take that lucrative offer of $10,000, and then ended up making the sevens side. So I actually played for Samoa before that. I was 18, and my first experience of playing sevens was actually for Samoa. And we travelled to Uruguay, Argentina, and Chile. It's not bad when you're 18. Some pretty good sights too. And then I got dropped from the Samoa team. So they dropped me, and then that following year, Gordon Titchens asked me to come to one of those grueling camps. And then I ended up making the New Zealand sevens side. I went to Paris that year, and then fast forward another few years, I ended up at this photo here in the Commonwealth Games, which was back then it was a little bit different because if you were playing sevens, it was the sort of platform to get you into Super Rugby because the trainings were so hard. And then what we got was like a 2,000 a tournament, and we're only on like 10 tournaments. And Super Rugby was the big. I think the minimum back in those days was 65, and the trainings weren't as hard. You got McDonald's cards, you got cars, you got all the sort of all the sort of gifts and stuff like that. And so, but when you went back to the environment, if you didn't do so well, I was with the Blues and in Auckland as well. You'd go back to the sevens, but it taught me a lot. It was awesome.
What's the toughest drill you do there when you do the sevens training?
Oh man, it used to be.
Titch was famous to be brutal, like insanely brutal.
Yeah. But also from the nutritional point of view too, he was, man, you couldn't eat, by the time it hit Wednesday, no red meat. And he would look at your plate, we'd go out to a restaurant, or you'd be in the buffet, you'd make sure he'd be looking over you, there would be nothing. So I remember going in there and one year leading into the New Zealand sevens, and I was with the Blues, and I lost 10 kgs in 1 week. And it was because they had to get us down to that level, but also because Jonah and Cully were around and they didn't have the sort of match fitness. So that's how sort of brutal he was. It was 80, 60, 40s, the shuttles, the sprints at the end of it. But you learnt a lot, and I think a lot of that sort of carried on sort of later on when I was playing 15s as well.
That's one of the most iconic sevens teams of all time that year. That's Cully and Jonah,
2002,
Eric Rush.
Yeah.
No, they were a little bit before me. I was still at school when I think it was Kuala Lumpur when they played, and Cully, that famous sort of try that he set up from Hong Kong. I went the following sort of in 2002 in Manchester, which was another, man, it was...
Who was that? Rico Gear, Dallas Seymour?
Yeah, no, Seymour had moved on. Carl Tenana, there was actually, what's his name? Chris Marsoy was there.
Scrummager?
No, it was no. So we had a lot. Craig Newby, yeah, we had and we won. Rico wasn't there. He was playing Super Rugby. Yeah, so it was. We had a pretty good team. We won gold. Fantastic.
Wicked, man. We'll just go through some of these photos. I think there's a photo here early on in the Auckland days. Perhaps you might know which year this one is.
You blokes still look the same, eh?
I know, timeless.
I want to age like that.
It's crazy. That would have been 99, I think it was, or 2000.
I think we won 99. I think
2000. So it was my second year. The first year I only played one game. I came off the bench, and that year Dougie was in the All Blacks, and he came back, and he was obviously Dougie plays right wing, but Jonah was on the other side, right? And you know what he did? He made me play on the right wing that night to mark Jonah. So I was wearing number 14. It's probably the only time I did sort of that year, and had to mark the big man. I can tell you what, I was standing beside Dougie most of the night, and the other side I wasn't going to be tackling Jonah anytime soon. That's for sure.
Oh, cracker, man. What about this photo here? I think this was from the Waikato days.
straight hair, Millsy.
Look at that.
Yeah, I went through a stage there, mate. Put the old, seems like I put the old finger inside the power socket or something like that.
Had some styles. Is that Byron Callagher as well?
Yeah, that's Stevie's best mate.
Where is this guy, by the way?
I think he's living back down in Te Puke.
Okay.
Fun fact, my mum actually taught him at primary school, Byron Callagher, down in Dunedin. Yeah. So, fellas, take us back to when you got the call for the All Blacks for the first time. What was that experience like? And then, obviously, being in that environment with such legends at the time, you know, in that era, you obviously had your Jonas, your Cullys. Carlos, Mertz, you know, like a real proper age of All Blacks. So tell us what that was like getting that first call and what that meant to you.
What year were you? You were
We're the same year.
So we had it was MPC. We just won. We played here. No, we played Hamilton. Played the Mulus down in Hamilton. Won. We went out to Waiheke, and then we're all having beers. Mad Sunday, leading into Mad Monday, and we stayed at Bruce's. The guy who owns Mainfreight's got a big house in Waiheke and his own beach, and we had a marquee up down on the beach, and they ran out an extension lead and plugged in the radio. And at 12 o'clock, the All Blacks were getting named, so everyone sort of hushed it around, and they read out the team. And I vividly remember it because I was very drunk, and I was standing next to Daniel Braid, and they ran out. They said Daniel Braid, and I turned to Brady and was like, "Oh my God, mate! Like that was amazing." And then I was not long after Braid, and they said Devine, and I was shocked and instantly sober.
I don't mean to make you feel old, but I actually remember it vividly too, getting on teletext and teletext and seeing the All Black name side. And I believe there was another halfback who I can't remember who was named for the same time. But
Danny Lee, it would have been.
Yes, it would have been. Yeah. But how about yourself, Mills? Take us through your version.
I got that wrong. I was actually the year after Steve. So I was 2003, and we'd just won the Super Rugby final, and I was just at home with the Olds. We'd won the final, and I literally just found out, like everyone else did, on TV. And as Steve mentioned, it was just alphabetical order, and there was a lot of M's back then. So by the time it got to me, it's just surreal. I think it's one getting named, but also at the same time the week that you're actually in camp, and you know, from outfitting to sort of understanding with what's happening, the playbook stuff that you've got to go through, but also the hype around it. In my first test against England, I came off the bench and we lost. So it's not really a fond memory in that sense, but we lost to England in Wellington. They had a 13-man squad because they had 2 guys in the bin, so it wasn't that flash that year.
And we were on their try line for like
ages, eh?
Yeah, we had like multiple scrums, and then they got a penalty, and that was essentially it.
I've always wondered this because when it comes World Cup time or when it is crunch time for the All Blacks, there's so much talk going on. As players and you're inside that bubble, inside that team environment, do you hear that talk or are you kind of shielded from it? Like you only kind of hear it if you go looking for it, or do you feel the pressure if it's on?
Millsy's had more than me. You take this one, buddy.
I think it was probably a lot easier back then because there's no social media. There was only the newspaper or TV and the news, and the coaches will always say you never sort of read the papers or listen to the radio. It's a lie because you do. You hear it, and you know when you've sort of played well. And
shout out Nico Hines.
Yeah, exactly right. But social media these days, it's so accessible, right? And even the comments and things back then, you just when you played a really good game, you look and see what sort of rating you got from one person in the Herald. Now you've got millions possibly, right? And so and that's always a hard thing to sort of try and take on and not sort of listen to that. When you're in the environment, it's fantastic. But I feel for some of the guys now because it's just there's just so much access to be able to get on there, and at the same time they're looking at it, right? 2011. I mean, I think Twitter had just come on. No one even knew what that was. That was the sort of the starting point, and I think Israel Dag and who was it? Corey Jane, and that was when they first came out in the World Cup when they were kind of out. It was our first real glimpse of what sort of social media looked like, right? And so yeah, it wasn't as bad back then. You're a little bit sheltered, but nowadays it's a lot harder to sort of, I suppose, get away from it in some ways.
Yeah, big time, man. It's quite funny because you compare your time in the black jersey to what these guys are going through now. Because Steve, you work with the radio. You're talking about the breakdown. Like you had your time in the black shirt. Like it's quite a successful time. When you look at the rugby landscape now, it seems like the world has changed. Like New Zealand have a much tougher challenge. Do you feel like a certain level of empathy for these guys, or do you feel like it's not that different between when you played and what they're going through now?
Yeah, I just feel it's like all professional sports is just a game of inches these days. Like, everyone's caught up to everyone. Like, the teams are a lot evener just because it's professional. That a lot of money's invested in Europe, particularly in rugby. So we're up against a lot, and we lose a lot of players. Some of them, I know kids who play Ponsonby rugby at age 14 have been moved to Brisbane to play for the Broncos in junior levels. Like, it's happening at age 14. These kids are getting picked out of rugby at age 14. Like, it's just mind blowing. So we lose a lot of talent. We just it is hard. They're definitely not trying any less. I just feel they're just a little bit younger at the moment. The All Blacks are a little bit more inexperienced than some of the other teams, and it's a growth phase. You got to go through the lean times sometimes to get where you need to be, and this is one of them. I still think they play really good rugby. I just think maybe it's the mental side of the game at the moment where they haven't been able to back it up week to week. And that comes with experience, and that's just going to take some time. So I think we're heading in a great direction. I really do, rugby-wise. I just think we're going to need a bit of time.
Well, what's your take on it commercially as well? Because, when you guys won, was it 04 you guys won the Super Rugby? 03. I remember going there, the Rupini Thouthdown and Bookers playing, the whole of Eden Park is sold out. And there's not so much... there's always that demand for All Black rugby, but it seems like Super Rugby and NPC is not there at the moment. Is there anything that you guys would change if you were in charge to sort of reinvigorate that level of rugby?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, it's hard, isn't it? I mean, certainly from a Sky's perspective, I don't mind it at all, right? Because everyone's at home and, they're paying our commentators.
Yeah, fair enough.
But it is. It's a worry when, even NPC, right? The stadiums are packed. But there's a lot more on, and also economically, there's some tough times. We've gone through a lot of tough times. People are very cautious about where they spend their money and how they spend their money and what's going to get them to the grounds. And so you've got to get a little bit creative also in terms of what you're going to the ground for. You're just going there to buy a $10 pie and then sit there and sort of watch the rugby, or do you want entertainment as well as the the games that are happening? But also there's restraints on that sort of spend. It's tough, but also there's other options. I mean, look at where the Warriors are at, right? I mean, even we're watching, there's just a lot going on, and I suppose we just need a little bit of creativity that's going to cost us a little bit less in some ways, Stevie.
Yeah, I feel rugby used to be a social gathering where at Eden Park after the match back in the days, remember we'd walk out, there'd be a boot party on, the members would park their cars and you take your boots off, put your sand shoes on, put a tracksuit on, go to the back and have a drink with the members who had a few beers in the boot of their car, and it was like a social event. They took that away. Then you're just going to watch the rugby, and it's raining, it's windy. I might just stay at home, and then you got places like here at Full Time. It's become a social event. Like, it's almost cooler now to be here than to be over there, because you've got, instead of a person sitting each side, you've got a row of friends and mates, and you make it the social. I really feel rugby particular needs to make it a social event again, and allow people to have some fun, and allow people to gather in big groups and have some fun. I really feel that's where we've lost our way at rugby.
Well, we can clip that up. That's the advert for Full-Time.
I was about to say, Shane will love that. Clip that.
The camera's up. Thanks for it.
Thank you, Shane. Hey, and let me tell you about that schnitzel I had earlier. Wow. If you haven't had this schnitzel, team, make sure you grab that next time.
Put the Marvin Gaye music behind that. That is beautiful. Millsy, tell us about that 2011 World Cup here in New Zealand. You'd captained the All Blacks for a couple games around that era as well, but it just felt like I've never seen New Zealand all unite. Was that magic for those guys in the team?
Oh man, it was huge. I think it's probably the best Rugby World Cup I've ever experienced, even from a fan's perspective. I mean, France a couple of years ago was pretty good, but the whole country was just right in behind it. Not just the All Blacks, but sort of they took on the other teams. For us in the environment, a lot of us had lost 2 Rugby World Cups before that. 03, we were a part of that. 11. No one wanted to come home after we'd lost the quarterfinals. It was probably our worst ever sort of result. And then, this time around. So a lot of effort had gone through those years to get us to the stage where we won, and we weren't the best team on the park. France played a lot better than us, and to win like that and have the whole the country behind us it was a magical moment. Can't remember too much after that because all I remember is staying up all night, getting to the parade, then hopping on another plane, going to Christchurch, then on to Wellington. It was just a blur, and it just finished like that. But
got some photos of you on the parade. No, I'm joking.
We can we'll keep the party going here, kind of tell the story, the beginning, the peak, winning World Cups and things like this. What about the day that comes when all right, it's time to hang the boots up? Was it an easy decision? I know everybody kind of experiences this differently. What was your guys' experience around retiring and stepping away from pro rugby?
I was ready. I was away. I did my last year in America. After 11, I went to Japan, did 3 seasons there, came back to New Zealand because I still missed it. I still missed that competitiveness. I literally made a decision to go to Japan based on the dollars, and went to a team that were losing 70 points every weekend, and I was at the back, and all I was doing was running. And that's what they used to say. They were going, man, just check your bank account, and I was like, man, it's not making me happy. So I came back and did a year at the Chiefs. I wish I could go check my bank account now, but and then I went on to Europe and played in Ireland and Italy. And Joe and I just sort of travelled a little bit. And America was really the finishing. I probably could have gone another couple of years, but I was mentally over it. I had my oldest son back here in New Zealand. I got a scholarship to study in San Francisco. I was going to be a chiropractor, but that was going to take me 6 years. And Max was still here. He was only like 6 or 7. And then I decided I needed to come back. And then back here, the school said to me, well, maybe you should come along and do it here. So I did my prereqs at AUT. And then Sky sort of just came along out of nowhere. And I had a bit of money for the next 5 years because I wanted to own my own business. I didn't want to sort of go into it. And similar to rugby, I knew that I was done in the All Blacks. I didn't want anyone to sort of tell me you were being dropped. So I wanted to dictate and have a business. And then Sky came along, held off on the chiropractic, and then I went into finance. And I just did. 7 years later, I'm a qualified financial advisor. Been there for the last almost 8 years, and own my own business. And I love it. There's similarities to rugby, similarities when I was sitting down with my team and talking to them through different things. And when I was in the environment playing rugby, they often talked about that. You learn more about life and about business in this environment when you one day step out of it. And I truly have. And to be fair, you're really heavily resourced in the All Blacks. We're having meetings with the SAS trying to make decisions, right? And their consequence if they don't plan or fail to plan is death. Now, you can't emulate that when you go out there and you're cracked under pressure. You're not going to die, but you're trying to get to a level where you can all make decisions. And then you're having honest conversations where you're saying to your teammates, mate, why aren't you catching that high ball, mate? We're busting our balls to get you that bloody ball, and every time you kick it away, they kick it back to you. You're effing dropping it, You can't really have that conversation in business, but you plan around it and you try and build a team that's working towards you. So in rugby, it's all about that win, right? And business is no different. It's just different goals. It's financial. They want to put food on the table. They want to go up the ladder. So you've got to try and bring some of that together. So to answer your question, I was ready to leave. I hated going around airports, following the same guy, being in meeting after meeting after meeting. And to be fair, when I finished, what I struggled with the most is going on holiday, because we were given our passports. You just basically turn up at the lounge, everything's done, you're in first class, you're travelling, and if you get lost, all you have to do is find the next person that's wearing the same outfit as you, and you're right. And I struggled with that. I was like, shit, I had panic attacks and say to my wife, oh, Joe, what are we doing? You go on holiday and you sit there, and I'm like, should I be training or should I just be lounging around? And because when you're away on tour, Steve, yeah, you know, you're not really on holiday. Like, people often say you go to all these awesome places, but majority of the time you're just building up for that week, and then you win or you lose, and then you come back down and you build back up. And that's probably the one thing I struggle with the most when I finish is actually going on holiday, or if I'm going for a run, not looking at my watch trying to make targets and just enjoying the run. But yeah, sorry to answer. Long story short, no, I was ready. And everyone always sort of asked, "Do you miss it?" I don't miss it at all. I miss the camaraderie and the guys, but I don't miss playing whatsoever.
I find it quite ironic that you spend a career injuring people's backs and then you become a chiropractor. It's like you're giving back to the community.
Oh, well, it wasn't.
A perfect circle.
Yeah,
a perfect
Full circle.
I only went to chiropractors 2010. I just had a horrible year of injuries, and I was so desperate. And I had a young guy who was not that flashy rugby player called Israel Dag nipping at my heels. And so I went to a chiropractor, and man, I probably had my best All Black year ever. And from then on, it kind of sort of lit something in me to say maybe I might give it a go. And that's kind of where it sort of started. That was the only reason I went down that track.
How about you, Stevie? I remember just before we were off stage, you were talking about this new venture that's launched today. Tell us about how your footy career ended and how that has sort of manifested in this new project.
So mine was very different to Millsy. I'd taken a few hits to the head over my career, and I'd struggled for a little while, and then I came back and got a couple more, and then struggled and then came back, and then I got one more reasonable size one. It wasn't the biggest, wasn't the lightest, and I woke up the next morning and I had a migraine, my first migraine I've ever had, and I was really lethargic, and I'd been struggling for a while, and I just never came good. So, after a couple of months of thinking that this is going to be over and done, I'll be back playing soon, did some tests, and the doc made a decision that that's enough. You've had enough. He sort of said, the chances of you playing rugby and getting hit in the head again are 100%. So he's like, I can't let you do that anymore. And it took a while. I probably had 3 or 4 migraines for 2 years, and that's in bed with the lights out and the curtains drawn and a bucket beside the bed vomiting, and it was a tough 2 years. I don't want to bring the crowd down, but
when you say the doc, you mean Doc Mayhew?
Dr. Stephen Carroll was my doctor at that time. He's pretty much now the number one brains specialist doctor in New Zealand. I was his first client, and it was a brutal 2 years. I've got my son here tonight. Mackie's at the back. I was we're in birth care in the hospital. I had a migraine. I was asleep in the lazy boy, and they woke me up, and old Mackie pops out, and then I climb back in the lazy boy and go back to sleep. I mean, I was literally a waste of space, really. I went from being a super fit, strong person to literally some days not being able to get out of bed, and it was 2 years. It was a rough time, and I'd sort of done some work on myself over those years to try and understand what I was going through, and it was a battle, but we got there in the end. I still get treatment now today, like 20 odd years on. I'm still getting treatment for it, which is it's helped me. It's I have to look after myself. I can't be as rogue as I like to be and used to be. But
no fighting skinheads for
no
you?
fighting skinheads at the courthouse, Millsy. But and then recently I got approached by a company in Aussie about who have developed a medical device that it's essentially a portable brain scanner. We just launched it today, first in the world. So it's a portable brain scanner that assesses and detects concussion in 2 minutes. It's a 2-minute scan, no baseline tests. You can have it on the sideline, you can have it in the dressing rooms, you can have it at the doctor's studio. 2 minutes, you get a scan and it says yes or no, you are concussed or not. Concussion's like pregnancy, you're either pregnant or you're not, so concussion, you're either concussed or you're not. So it's a simple yes or it's a simple no. Pretty awesome to use alongside a doctor at a professional game, but we see massive benefits in the grassroots game, schoolboy rugby, where there is no doctor on the sideline. Often it's left to a parent to decide whether you play on or not, or a coach or a student coach even. So we're going to work pretty hard in the next little while to try and make that available to every New Zealander, whether it's rugby league, soccer, mountain biking, horse riding, whatever it is. We're going to try and get it out there so it's available to everyone, because it's a pretty cool device, and hopefully can definitely make the game that we both played and that we all played a hell of a lot safer.
That's awesome, man. I actually suffered with concussion as well while I was playing. I remember sitting down with the doctor and I went through all the symptoms. I said, I'm having trouble remembering. I just can't put two thoughts together. And he said...
you just usually can't put two thoughts together.
That's what he said. He said, were these symptoms before the head knock? I thought, you might be right. I might just be might be stupid. Sorry, Doc. But that's bloody awesome, man. Stepping away from rugby, what does your kind of day-to-day look like? Because I know you spent some time with the first responders.
Yeah, so when I finished rugby, I was ill for a couple of years, and then I found some treatment that really worked, and within a month or so, I felt like I was back, and I really missed rugby, and I got back into rugby. I managed Auckland for a couple of years, and I found it hugely frustrating because I knew that I was probably better than the people who are on the field, and I felt like I could still compete at that level, so I felt like I had to step away because that was just driving me insane. And then I ran into a mate who I played footy with, his brother, who was a fireman, and he's like, it's a good little team environment, and that's what I missed, and that's what I really crave, is being part of a good team. So I went to the fire station and I hung out with the boys for a night. They cooked me a meal and we went to a couple of calls, and I thought, this is pretty cool. So did my 3 months in Rotorua training and became a fireman. It's been a bit of a roller coaster ride, to be fair. It's not an easy gig, first responding, and I love the aspect of there's probably 2 or 3 times a year where I think this could be it, meaning my life is in grave danger. So I enjoy that. I've worked out that I enjoy those pressure moments where a wrong decision can be pretty dire. It's great satisfaction helping a person you don't know out of a pretty tough situation. So I do enjoy that aspect of it. I mostly enjoy the boys on the fire truck. We're a pretty tight little crew, and we get ourselves into situations where it gets pretty curly, and I've worked out that I actually quite like that. And it keeps you alive, keeps you moving, and that's where I'm at. And until recently, and this other thing's popped up, and I'm not sure where it's going to go or what it is, but we launched today, and it was pretty massive. We got a bit more media stuff to do tomorrow around it. Some people are pretty interested, but yeah, it's who knows? It's pretty cool. Doing a bit of
it's awesome, man.
Doing a bit of radio stuff with Jello over here, bit of TV stuff here and there.
Yeah.
He's a lot prettier than I am, so he gets more gigs than I do.
Well, I don't know. Let's talk about this one, because first of all, thank you for your service, because there's a lot of people in this room that you've helped out family members, or whatever goes on at those emergency call-outs. It is a dangerous place at times, so thank you for your service. And I think the ladies of New Zealand would like to thank you for these fireman calendars. Now, I had some fun finding this one. Look at the rig. Holy hecker. Does it look like that all the time?
Thank God AO wasn't around when that thing was around. That was a couple of years ago. I got pretty fit for that. But unfortunately, since then, I've had a bicep surgery and torn 2 tendons in my elbow, one on each. So it's been a tough couple of years post that, to be fair. But that's definitely my glory days, mate. You won't get better than that.
That's the profile picture for now until forever. I actually ended up down a little rabbit hole, if you want to call it that, finding these shirtless fireman photos. Look at some of these. These are calendars from around the world. I think this one is the crew, the fire crew. Is this your crew here, Stevie?
That's back quite a few years ago when I was much younger. Well, mate, what websites are you looking at, Jello?
You don't want to go on that search
Let's,
history, trust
can
me.
Can we get his phone and his search history?
don't wanna
Let's
go
just
down
see
that
what he's been
Look
looking
how,
at.
look how funny some of these are.
What
mate.
I want to know is why they've got the dude with the sloppiest rig front and centre. Like, Stevie, you poor bastard, you're out the back and you've gone on a bloody cycle by the looks of things.
I'm shy, mate. I just get me out of the way.
Let's have a look at some of these other ones. Meerkats.
What?
Meerkats.
So I think they went away from just because of the times. They went away from skinless firemen, and there had to be a child or an animal in the photo. That was the rule.
Let's have a look at the next one here. Let's just keep these rolling through.
Oh,
So,
That looks a bit like Millsy.
see, there's a couple in the target demographic in the audience just went, oh.
there you
So
go.
I guess
there you go.
it's
They
not
work
all
for somebody.
doom and
What else
gloom
we
here.
got, Ethan? Keep these coming.
Yeah.
So just building a card house.
Ladder 32.
They just get
I think
more
it's better he was
obscure.
building a house of cards than going full frontal.
Knitting. This is
Knitting.
Every nana's dream, man.
There's not a lot of happiness there, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I think is that all of them? I think that's enough. Yeah.
Let's
Well,
Yeah, well, let's give a warm round of applause for these two legends, Mr. Steve Devine and the second man ever to play 100 tests for the All Blacks, Mr. Mills Muliaina. Thank you, gents. Really appreciate it.
Everything, black cards, all black, all black, everything, all black, everything, black cards, black cards, all black, everything.
I like to say I'm like the New Zealand hip hop switch McCall. Cause I'm like the captain when we on tour. Never drop the ball. Yeah, this is dedicated to our team. Yeah, all black, everything. Yeah, you know I'm all black, everything. Married to the game, all black, wedding ring. Always
Jello, two absolute legends. And off the field as well, what Stevie and Mills are doing is top-notch stuff. It's awesome.
yeah, it's quite funny. Those guys you see, like, we watch them growing up as kids and stuff like that. So when you meet them face to face, you feel like you already know each other. So it's a hey man,
Yeah,
like,
I know.
Yeah, anyway.
The amount of footy I watched as a youngster, I literally idolized
yeah.
them, you know what I mean?
Right.
So that's a real cool one. Look, we'll quickly go through the sports this weekend before we wrap up, and I can take this jersey off, can't wait. Obviously, the big game, Jello, across the road there at the Garden of Eden, All Blacks, Australia. I was talking to Millsy and Steve beforehand, and my theory on the matter is, look, angry team after a big loss. I think they're gonna come out firing. But I agree with Steve in the fact that I don't know if they'll get the Perth one done. But Auckland, big time.
Yeah, well, no team has gone win-win against any country. Argentina, South Africa, Australia, it's all kind of hit and miss. And I think you're right. I think the pressure of Eden Park is what works for the All Blacks. We saw it against South Africa. I think we'll see it again this weekend. NRL,
100%.
are we picking any underdogs?
I'm going to go with the Sharkies this week.
I'm going for the Sharkies. I'm going to put
I
some money
actually
on
am.
the Sharkies.
I actually am. I would love to see them right that wrong from last year. Please clip this. But I would love to see them right that wrong. They knocked out the Raiders. They're the underdogs. We were sitting here literally laughing at them last week. And they proved us wrong, and I think hopefully they can do it again. Panthers, Broncos, man, I said it all year. I don't want to play the Panthers when it comes to the finals, and I don't think the Broncos want that smoke. I think the Panthers get it done.
Yeah, I think Panthers get it done. I think Broncos had a really good thing going with Billy Walters and Ben Hunt in the halves, but things have changed, so I think Penrith get it done. I'm hoping the Sharks get it done.
Liam
Last
Lawson.
three things going on this weekend. Liam Lawson, he had a
Liam Lawson.
finish
I
fifth.
love the different photos.
There's such a variation.
They're
I
great.
like to keep
They're
the
great. I
variation
love how
going.
this has become a theme. Look, I think Liam's found some form here. I really like what he's doing at the moment. I think another top 10 is on the cards here. Singapore as a road track. He seems to do well in those. So yeah, look, I'm gunning for him. It's all about creating a lovingly banterous atmosphere.
That's what we have here
Yeah.
in abundance.
Clip that. Clip it all.
Some UFC. Carlos Ulberg fighting this weekend. What do you know about that?
He's fighting Dominic Reyes, who's the guy who arguably beat John Jones, but he has degraded a lot since then. Carlos is on the up. He is at his prime. Reyes not known to grapple Carlos is going to knock him out, and it's going to be styly too. This is Carlos's time. He'll fight for the belt after this. He'll fight the winner of Pereira and Ankalaev. Amp for the guy. You know, he's a Kiwi bloke, local boy. They call him the Black Jag, and we'll leave it at that. But Navajo Sterling is also fighting on this card. He is probably, once Carlos wins the belt and does his thing, I really like Navajo to sort of do what Islam did for Habib and sort of just be the understudy, and he'll have his time in the sun. Also, we got Michelle Montague, our first ever Kiwi woman fighting in the UFC. So good luck to her, good skill to her rather, as she makes her debut.
Yeah, I'm pumped. I'm pumped for that, Carl. I was just going to say the fight's on here Sunday.
Yes, the fights are on right here at Full Time Sports, who happen to be having their first birthday tomorrow. Happy birthday. Last but not least, Jello, no one wants the Shield. They just keep getting on the piss after they win the Shield, and basically they don't recover. And Otago have the Shield now. They beat Canterbury over the weekend. They put it up against North Harbour. So get this, if North Harbour win, then Southland play for the Shield in the last game of the season. I would love nothing more to see Southland win it, because they win the Shield, they get pumped by 70 the next 3 weeks, and then somehow they might find themselves with a Shield to end this in the year. It would just sum it all up perfectly. The Shield it's doing hot potato at the moment.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I could see it staying in Otago for the rest of the year. Don't know how that fire crew matches up against Stevie D's. What do you reckon?
I'm taking Stevie all day. Guy front and centre is probably... Yeah, no, I'm not going to say that. I've learned my lesson, all right? No more shit talking on our year.
No, that's it.
To a degree.
Well, these options here, we'll clip them up. We'll make a multi. Thank you to our friends at TAB for sponsoring us. Thank you to our
let's
other
go.
sponsors.
All Blacks, Sharks, Panthers, Lawson top 10. This is going to be a good multi, and it might win too. Alberg by KO. North Harbour to win. Why not?
Love it.
All right, thanks to our friends at Spates, the TAB, Scopic, the Mighty One, New Zealand Warriors, and of course, the birthday boy, full time as well. Jello, always a pleasure. That's show number 17. Appreciate it. Appreciate you guys. It's our year. Not there yet.